cult members, and welcome to Pop Culture Cult. This is Sean, and this is going to be a non-spoiler review and maybe a little bit of discussion of Andy Weir's new book, Project Hail Mary. This came out about a week ago, and I listened to the audiobook via Audible. And I want to start off by saying I'm not a big avid reader, but I love the audiobook abilities that we have nowadays. My job allows me to drive around a lot, and I can put on headphones. Sorry, I can listen to stuff. I can listen to podcasts and music and audiobooks quite a bit. And so a lot of the Star Wars books that I've done in the past have been on the audio side, and I really like those books because they're almost an audio drama. They have, the space sounds and the pew 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 and all that kind of stuff. So regular audiobooks is always one of those things where I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about the audiobook version of itself. However, Andy Weir is, I've come to find, one of my more favorite authors that are out there today. I got introduced to him because of The Martian, the movie. I love that movie. It's one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time. I just love the way they tell the story of being isolated on a foreign planet. And so I went back and listened to the book, and I've listened to that book 3 times now. I don't revisit a lot of books, but Andy Weir and Ernest Cline are 2 of the authors that I do have gone back and spent time with the same book multiple times. Okay, with all that being said, this is a very interesting book. I'm going to start off by saying I really like this book. I will probably go back and re-listen to this at some point in time, probably in the near future. So if you've come for that, that's it. That's the review. Thanks for coming. But specifically, what I like about Andy Weir and his style is that he makes obviously complicated science easily understandable. And that's one of the things that I loved about The Martian so much, the movie itself, but also, again, in the book, is to try to understand the concept of what it takes to travel in space, to live in space, to live on a foreign planet, to do all that kind of stuff is very complicated. And it becomes very hard to keep a reader or a listener engaged in those stories when the science gets over their head. Andy does a really good job of making the science approachable. He has said in the past that he is a science geek, and so his view of science is condensed into a chewable tablets, for lack of a better term. In this particular book, what happens when a man wakes up from a coma and is burdened with the purpose of saving humanity, and him having to figure out where he is, how he got there, why he's there, and for using a term from another book, science the shit out of it and figure out how to save planet Earth. I appreciate taking a different approach to the isolation of deep space that they took in this one. And I also appreciate what he did with a lot of authors do this, and sometimes it works, more times than not it doesn't, but the back and forth storytelling up to the timeline. And with this particular book, they would introduce a point in time further back and set up the information you need to know about what they're talking about in the current timeline of the book. And I really appreciated it. It was made things a lot more easy to explain. He would ease you into whatever the next part of the story would be. I want to talk about a couple of different spoiler things. So overall, I really love this book. I think it's really, really well done. Ray Porter is the guy who voices the book. He does a great job of doing different accents. There's male and females. There's Russian, Chinese, Indian, Irish, American, Southern American. Like there's all these different accents, and he makes each voice separate from each other. And so I really appreciated Ray Porter's job that he did on this. I would like to talk about some spoilers, not super spoiler, but I wanted to talk about some spoilers. So thank you so much for coming by. If you want to stick around for a couple more minutes while I talk about some spoilers, we'll do that now. So you've been warned. Okay. So the other concept that is one man is in charge of pretty much saving humanity. Out with just that is an interesting story, but you also have a little bit of the first contact stuff. I won't say a little bit, a lot of the first contact stuff, and I got a lot of Enemy Mine. Enemy Mine was a movie that came out with, I think it was Dennis Quaid in the 80s, and it was about two warring factions, humans and aliens, fighting against each other, and they had I'm going to stay with Dennis Quaid until I'm told differently. Dennis Quaid and an alien who got left. Were trapped in a cave, and they had to rely on each other without trying to kill each other to stay alive, and then become friends. And so I got a lot of that kind of feel with this story that they're telling. It wasn't just that Grace, the main human character, was left alone in deep space by himself to science the shit out of it, but he was able to do first contact, and then the first contact that with the alien race that they come across, they figure out language, they figure out engineering, they figure out biology, and them figuring themselves out together, and then helping to keeping both of them alive was really interesting, and I really appreciated that story. I really would like to see more of this particular story. I think there could be more to this story there specifically. They have MGM bought the rights to the book last year, and Ryan Gosling was in talks to star as Grace. I find that interesting. I like Grace as a character, but Ryan's very deadpan and straight, and I don't feel Grace is that way. Doesn't mean that it won't work, but that's what the talk was right now. And Lord and Miller were going to be the directors, so I thought that was an interesting choice too. For this book specifically, if you were into the science fiction, more science than fiction aspect of the world, you will really enjoy this book. If you are looking for, accurate, all of this stuff, Andy Weir does a really good job of making the science as realistic as possible, but putting in a future place of understanding. And that's what he did with The Martian. That's what he did once again here with Project Hail Mary. Let us know what you thought of this book and our reaction, review, discussion of it in the comments down below. Tell us what your favorite Andy Weir book is. There's several out there now. In the comments down below, please be nice as a requirement around here. Follow us on all the social. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow the bell for notifications. Follow us on all the social media stuff: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And until next time, cult members, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.